Millions of Americans are spending 11 minutes a day practicing what one of these men preaches. What is your name, please?
My name is William Orban.
My name is William Orban.
My name is William Orban.
Only one of these men is the real William Orban. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Robert Q. Lewis, and Kitty Carlisle. On To Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of us all, and welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by Winston Filter Cigarettes. Good evening, panel.
Good evening, Bud.
Everybody well this evening? We have some fun waiting for you, so open up that envelope, if you will, and follow along as I read. I, William Orban, am director of the School of Physical Education for the University of Saskatchewan in Canada. In 1958, I developed a series of exercises for the Royal Canadian Air Force, designed to keep its personnel in a state of physical fitness. This system is called the 5BX 11-minute-a-day plan, and is based on a series of simple, graduated exercises which can be performed by anybody from 6 to 80 at any time and at any place without the use of gadgets or equipment. Although the plan was originally designed for military personnel, the resultant booklet containing the detailed instructions has become one of the best sellers in the English-speaking world. The United States Air Force alone has purchased 2 million copies. Signed, William Orban. Panel, as you heard, these three gentlemen all claim to be the same one, namely William Orban, the man who developed the 5BX plan of exercises. So let's start the questioning with one of the stars of the new motion picture Soldier in the Rain, Tom Poston. Tom?
Thank you, Bud. Thank you for all of that. Number 3, what are exercises called in England? And perhaps even in Canada, I don't know. What do they call exercises, especially kids?
Calisthenics?
Yes, what are calisthenics called in England? 3.
Free exercises?
Number 2, do you have anything else to do?
Not other than exercises.
Number 1, do you know?
Setting up.
Well, all of that stuff, I suppose. Thank you. Number 2, what is the name of the Marine book about exercises? There's a Marine who's written a book about exercising.
I don't believe I know.
Do you know number 1?
Never heard of it.
Number 3?
Never heard of it.
What's the name of your booklet, number 3?
5BX plan for physical fitness.
Thank you.
Peggy Cass.
Thank you, Bud. Number 2, how much does the book cost?
35 cents. Beg your pardon. 35 cents in Canada, $1 here.
Well, that's quite an increase. Number 3, see, I have that book, and I can't figure out which chart I'm on. What to do it? Number 1, is touching your toes of any value without bending your knees?
Yes, you speak on the...
Yes.
It certainly is.
Number 3, is there something wrong with a person who cannot do that?
Well, possibly. It could be, yes.
Yes?
Not necessarily.
Number 2, I've been trying, and I can't touch. Number 1, the more serious thing. Who is the head of the Royal Canadian Air Force?
General Smollett.
Robert Q. Lewis.
Thank you, Bud. Gentlemen, before we start, is there anything you can do for me? Let me see if I can trap you, gentlemen. Number 3, what is this muscle called, please?
Which muscle is
This
that?
one right in here.
I can't see.
Well, I didn't say where is it. I said, what is it?
Well, it depends which one it does. Whether it,
Oh, it does a lot. The muscle I am referring to runs from the inside of the wrist to the elbow. What is that, please?
Oh, I couldn't remember. No.
Number 1, can you answer that?
That's the humerus.
It's
Very,
humorous?
very.
You'll be amazed at how humorous it is. Number 2,
Kitty.
Number 2, what is the 5BX mean?
That's the 5 basic exercises.
Oh, it's as simple as that. I see. Well, I have Peggy's trouble. I've got the book, too. I just got it last week, and I'd like to address all 3 of you. I don't know which chart I'm on either.
Me either.
I can't figure it out. It's very complicated. Number 3, what are the girls wearing in this booklet? Well, I know what they're wearing. I want to know if you know.
Leotards.
They're wearing, number 1, what color are the leotards?
In this book, they're just blue, just not colored at all.
They're blue.
Blue or black, very dark.
Is that the way it appears in the booklet?
To me, it is.
I see. It's very interesting. Where is Saskatchewan, number 2?
Saskatchewan, that's
Yeah.
the middle province in Canada.
Thank you. Number 3, what is the capital of Canada?
That's all the time we have, I'm sorry to say. That's it. So please mark your ballots, if you will, at once and without touching your toes. Just mark them, and don't change them, and don't consult with each other while marking for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will, of course, win $250 for every incorrect vote indulged in by our panelists. And are all ballots marked?
Gee, I'm really trapped myself.
Well, as soon as you mark, let me... There we go. Tom, for whom did you vote?
Well, I voted for number 3. I probably should kick myself because I don't know why he didn't name at least one of the muscles in that forearm there that he was asked by Mr. Lewis, but we'll see. I think it was number 3 on other counts.
Peggy.
Well, I voted for number 2 because he really looks like he really knows about physical exercises. He's tall and good-looking, and he looks like he belongs on the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Robert Q., what is your choice?
Well, I'll tell you, but despite, I see, maybe he couldn't see it. But I still like number 3, and I think number 2 looked too healthy. I think the fellow that wrote that book would have to look fully dressed, sort of like a weakling. Excuse me. Like I do.
Kitty Carlisle.
Well, I voted for number 2. If I'd written the book, I would know whether those girls wore blue or black leotards, and in my book, they wore black ones. But number 3 I didn't vote for because the expert, I should have. The expert generally knows so much. He probably knows so many muscles in your arm that he couldn't say one offhand. But I voted for number 2.
One off arm, you mean?
One off arm.
All right. There we wind up with 2 for number 3, 1 for 1, and 1 for 2. That's pretty widely spread there, panel. Let's see how it works in the charmed circle of truth as we learn now which one of these gentlemen actually is the originator and developer, I guess you could say, of the 5BX plan. So will the real Dr. William Orban please stand up? Oh, my, I just realized that I misread the lineup of the votes before. I read your Roman numeral 2 as a 1. So it was 2 for 2 and 2 for 3. That's the way it's split up, evenly down the middle. Very good fooling, though, with this panel, believe me. Number 1, what is your real name, sir, and what do you really do?
My name is S.P. Mahoney, newspaper advertising representative.
Thank you. And number 2, you walk up with half the votes. What is your real name, and what do you do, sir?
My name is John Sheely, and I'm the traveling representative of the Montana Centennial Train, which will be in New York next April at the opening of the fair.
Please, thank you, sir. Before we... Yes, sure.
Why couldn't the doctor name one of the muscles in Robert? Couldn't he see any of them?
Couldn't see through his seat.
There are only about 10 or 15 muscles in the forearm, and so I didn't know which one was for.
Thank you.
That's why I asked you what motion it was.
Robert, which one did you have in mind?
The middle one.
Oh, thank you very much. All right. In checking the score, we find that there were 2 incorrect votes at $250 each, gentlemen. That's a total of $500 you take away from Winston cigarettes. And, of course, on your way out, you will be each given a carton of Winston's as well. And our sincere thanks to you, and hope you had as good a time as we did. Good night, and God bless you. We'll put the panel back to work in just a moment. Meantime, here's something you'll enjoy. Now may I present our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Georgia Basolo.
My name is Georgia Basolo.
My name is Georgia Basolo.
Follow along again, if you will, panel, while I read. I, Georgia Basolo, and my husband own and operate a buffalo ranch. The ranch comprises 66,000 acres, and on it we keep our own herd of some 2,000 head of American buffalo. One day, about 4 years ago, I was seated on a buffalo robe, running my hand through the thick fur, when I suddenly thought of the possibility of buffalo fur coats. Our first products, 3 styles of which you see us wearing now, may be the start of a whole new industry. They are being shown for the first time this season in stores in a dozen major cities. Signed, Georgia Basolo. Panel, you heard these 3 ladies all claiming to be Georgia Basolo, originator of the buffalo fur coat. We'll start the cross-examination with Peggy Cass, if we may. Peggy?
Thank you. Number 3, do buffaloes have hooves or paws?
They have hooves.
Number 2, do you shear the buffaloes? Is that sheared buffalo or just
This is sheared buffalo.
Number 1, is yours sheared buffalo as well?
Yes, it is sheared.
Number 3, how long is buffalo fur before it's sheared?
Anywhere from 6 to 8 inches.
Number 2, what did you do with the buffaloes before you decided to make fur coats out of them?
We made meat out of them.
Robert Q.
Well, listen.
Number 1, does buffalo meat help build muscles? Number 1, where is your ranch?
In Wyoming.
Number 2, where in Wyoming?
In Boulder, Colorado.
Well, 66,000 acres, it says here. Number 3, where is your ranch?
In Pear, South Dakota.
Pear, South Dakota. Number 1, there seems to be a problem with number 1, I've got a better question. What does the name Teitelbaum in Los Angeles mean to you?
Not a thing.
Number 2, does that name mean anything to you?
No.
Kitty.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted because I think a new fur is what we all need, and it's so beautiful. I can't wait to get a buffalo coat. Number 3, who ate the buffalo meat before they were turned into fur coats, these buffaloes? Human beings. Who? Human beings. Number 2, who ate the buffalo meat and why?
The meat was sold to the Safeway chains and sold in California and Honolulu.
Safeway?
And number 1, just people ate buffalo meat?
People eat buffalo meat.
Uh-huh. Number 2, what's the difference between a buffalo and a bison?
They're the same.
Exactly.
That's right.
Tom Poston.
Thank you. Number 1, when you a lot of talk about people eating this buffalo meat. Is that the purpose for which you raised your buffalo?
It was the first purpose.
To sell this meat to packers where it would subsequently be sold to humans?
To chain stores and restaurants.
And consumed by human beings?
Yes.
Do you agree with that, number 2?
Yes.
Number 3? Do you agree? Number 3.
Don't agree with it.
Number 3, Indians used to shoot buffalo with bow and arrow. Where would you have to hit a buffalo to bring him down with an arrow?
That I'm afraid I don't know.
Number 2, do you know?
Yes, behind the ears.
Number 1, do you agree with the
Yes.
And that's it, I'm afraid. You all still look a little stunned, but apart from that, let's get to the business of marking your ballots, if you will, please. It's opened up a whole new territory to you, hasn't it, huh?
This whole evening has been a revelation.
Mark your ballots, if you will, at once, without change and no consultation, as you vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Marking all complete. Very well, Tom. For whom did you vote this time?
Well, I voted for number 3. Of course, it goes without saying that almost everything on a buffalo is behind the ears. I don't think you'd have much luck with a bow and arrow unless you were more specific than that.
Peggy.
I voted for number 3 because Boulder, Colorado, I've been there, and you couldn't keep 66,000 buffalo there. I mean, it's a city. and then and right all around it are mountains. But I never heard of that place in North Dakota, so it must be not very many people and plenty of room for 66,000 buffaloes.
There was only 2,000 buffaloes.
Robert Q.
66,000 acres.
A lot of acres, more acres than buffalo.
Oh, I thought there was 66,000.
There are in Pierce, North Dakota. There are 66,000 people. Anyway, you're all wrong. I know. I like you, number 2. That's all.
And Kitty, what is your choice?
Well, I was forced to vote for somebody. I don't believe it's any of them because they were all too pretty and attractive to be sitting out there with buffalo. But anyway, I voted for number 2 because she said that they sold their buffalo meat in Honolulu, and it all sounded very assured.
Oh, we got an even split again. 2 for
Isn't
number
that
3, 2
wonderful?
for number 2.
You see the name? It's where the buffalo and the basilo roam. Georgia Basilo.
Okay, let's go into the area now, finding out who's right and who's wrong as we learn now which one of these ladies actually is the originator of the buffalo fur coat. So will the real Georgia Basolo please stand up?
No.
Oh, boy, prettiest buffalo we've seen in a long time. I want to tell you. We have an expression we use when this happens to the panel, and I'm sorry it refers to another kind of fur, so forgive me. We call this skunking the panel, and you did it nobly and well.
They buffaloed us.
They sure did. Number 2, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is Virginia Addison, and I'm Vice President of Addison, Goldstein, and Walsh.
And number 3, may I ask your name and what you do, please?
My name is Ruth Kasowitz, and I'm an office manager in the Interchurch Center building in New York City.
Well, there's nothing I can tell you, ladies, that you don't already know. You've got your fur coats, and you now have also 4 incorrect votes at $250 each. That's a total of $1,000 from Winston Cigarettes. And a carton of Winston's for each of you on your way out. We thank you very much. You brought us a lot of fun, and we hope we gave you some back. Good night, and God bless you. Now, 60 seconds designed to your particular taste for your particular pleasure. Now let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Igal Mosinson.
My name is Igal Mosinson.
My name is Igal Mosinson.
Follow along with your copies of this one, if you will, please, panel. I, Igal Mosinson, am an Israeli. At home, I am considered one of my country's leading writers, since I am the author of 3 novels, 17 produced plays, and several collections of short stories. Here in New York, I am better known in the construction business. I have worked on a number of Manhattan's newest skyscrapers. Since December of 1960, I have held an active paid-up card in the International Bricklayer Helpers Union, Local 59. Signed, Igal Mosinson. Very well, these 3 gentlemen all claim to be Igal Mosinson, author and bricklayer's helper. We'll start with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Oh, thank you, Bud. Number 2, how many theaters are there in Tel Aviv?
In Tel Aviv proper, there's 3 known theaters.
Can you name them for me?
Well, there's Habima, there's Uel, there's Karadi.
Thank you. Number 3, do you have any more to add to that?
Well, they are very small theaters, but the most known are the 3.
Thank you. Number 1, well, what is your union affiliated with? CIA, AFL?
CIA?
I mean, actually, I I did something like that, yes.
I don't know.
You don't know. Who's Mr. Meany, number 2?
Well, he's CIOFL.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Tom Poston.
Is it really my turn?
Yes.
Number 1, which side of the stage here is stage right?
I think this one,
And what does upstage refer to?
where we came from.
Very good. What is, to what does the proscenium refer, number 2? I won't ask you any more, number 1. Number 2, you're too smart.
I don't know the
proscenium?
I didn't understand you.
The proscenium. The proscenium arch. Do you know number 3? Thank you, number 2. Do you know number 3?
No idea.
The proscenium arch? Thank
Peggy.
Number 1, who's Sholem Aleichem?
Shalom Aleichem was a Jewish author.
Number 3, who's Meyer Weisskall?
Mayor Weisskall, I think, is heading the Weizmann Institute.
Number 2, what's the name of the big hotel in Jerusalem?
King David.
Number 1, who's Karl Kapek?
Who?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure myself. Chapek. Karl Chapek.
Karl Chapek was the brother of Joseph Chapek.
Okay, Robert Q. On from there.
Am I through?
Yeah, and how? Number 1, who writes your material? No, I didn't mean to be rude. That's two brilliant answers. Number 3, where is ex-President Ben-Gurion living now, please?
Well, sometimes in Tel Aviv, sometimes in the Sde-Boker.
Number 2, actually, where does he maintain his official residence at this point?
Well, he's retired.
Yes.
He's in the bouquet most of the time.
All right.
And that's all the time we had. But you had a lot of laughs, and that's worth something. So mark your ballots, if you will, please, at once, without change, no consultation, as you vote now for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Are we all marked? Everyone all down the line? Okay. Tom, for whom?
Well, I voted for number 1. I was in a Chapek Brothers play, so I know that there were 2 of them. And what's more, I would love to be in a play by his. He must be a marvelous playwright. I love it.
Peggy.
I figured number 1 has a nightclub act, so I voted for number 3. I voted for number 3 because Meyer Weisskall is with the Weizmann Institute.
All right, Robert.
I voted for number 1. I just like his composure and his answers. Even if he isn't, he should be.
Kitty.
Well, I voted for number 1. Number 2 and number 3 had marvelous answers about Israel. They were all absolutely correct, I think. But number 1 knew about the proscenium, Tom's question, and I think the other 2 perhaps should have known if they were playwrighs because their English is marvelous. So I voted for number 1.
Interestingly enough, just as a side issue, no one asked number 1 about the proscenium.
No.
So, not much of a reasoning goes down. However, let's see how it turns out. As it gets into the light of truth, we'll learn now which one of these gentlemen actually is the author and bricklayer's helper. So will the real Igal Mosinson please stand up?
No.
He's giving you the left to right and the right to left bit and the right. Thank you, sir, and congratulations. Number 2, what is your real name, sir, and what do you really do?
My name is Paul Peter Porges, and I'm a cartoonist.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, what is your real name, and what do you do?
My name is Elisha Cohen, and I'm a mechanical engineer for Airville Corporation.
Can we find out what he's been writing or what he's written lately or something?
Yes, his latest novel, as a matter of fact, has just been translated into English. It's being published by St. Martin's Press. It's entitled Judas. That's his latest novel, correct?
That's right.
We wish you success, sir. Continue.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being with us and checking the score. We find that panel had to recover a little bit. It had a rough evening up to this point. But of that, it had 1 incorrect, and that's $250. We hope it's more than made up for by the pleasure of your visit. That comes to you from Winston Cigarettes, as is a carton of Winston's on your way out. Thank you, gentlemen. Good night. God bless you. Panel, just to allay some of the horror that was on your faces during the buffalo round, let me tell you that buffalo on the government land and so forth are protected and on preserves and so forth. But anyone wants to go to the business of raising buffalo just as they raise cattle. It's raised and used for meats and for the hides and everything else. So there you are. In any event, you are your own wonderful selves, and I always thank you for that. All of us have a stake, incidentally, in keeping the educational standards high in America's colleges, so give freely to the college of your choice, and give now. It will help. Good night, panel.
Good night, Bud.
Bless you, and don't forget to join us the same time next week, and I'll see you tomorrow evening for the daytime show. Good night to you from Winston Cigarettes, and may I remind you once again to tell the truth. Good night, everyone.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. Tell the Truth has been brought to you tonight by Winston Filter Cigarettes. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Johnny Olson speaking. For To Tell the Truth, this program was pre-recorded.